Hey, Stan here. Welcome back to the Drum Cave. Just a brief anecdote today, but before I do that, I'm just going to brew a coffee, so let's do that. Good brew. So, as the title would suggest, a brief anecdote today about my favorite hi-hat cymbals and why. So as a side note, I've been with Agop cymbals for maybe 4 or 5 years now. And the reason why I joined them was purely because for me, they single-handedly cover more individual sounds within one brand than any other cymbal company that I've worked with. And every time I sit behind my drums, I feel absolutely fulfilled with what I have the pleasure of playing. So, a couple of years ago, within their lineup, they released a series called the Exist Dry Dark Brilliant series. Now, they've already had the Exist series for a while, and they've also had the Exist Dry Dark series as well. But what this was essentially what the title suggests, which is a brilliant version of the Exist Dry Dark series. Now, at the time, I was already favouring the Om series, so Cindy Blackman's signature model. The Epoch hats, I absolutely love. They're just stunning hi-hat cymbals. Even the Exist Ion crashes, I'm a huge fan of, so I love the short staccato-ness of those crashes. So I wasn't expecting to sort of all of a sudden favour a whole new series of cymbal. Sure enough, I put them on the kit, and as soon as I started playing with them, I completely fell in love. So we'll start with the crashes alone. The crashes to me are basically the sound of what a crash cymbal is when I think of what a crash cymbal is. It's the sound that my mind generates of what a crash cymbal sounds like. And they sound absolutely incredible under the microphones. And they're also not too loud as well, which I really like. So I use them live with all my bands, whether it's pop or whether it's hard rock, and no issues at all. Even on smaller stages or big venues, they carry through really, really well. Now, when it came to their hi-hats, they sent me a 15-inch set of their hats. And although I loved them, there was something that wasn't quite right for me. So over the years with hi-hats, for me personally, and I remember this going back as far as when I was like 18 years old, so taking influence from guys like Carter Beauford or Abe Cunningham, so lots of intricate hi-hat work, I've always favoured a lot of response and articulation from my hi-hats. So to generate that, you generally need quite a thick hi-hat top. Now, for some reason, hi-hats always come with a thick bottom and quite a thin top, or thinner top. It just seems to be the way that they're manufactured. So by default, I would always flip my hi-hats over. I'd always put the thick bottom on the top and have the thinner cymbal on the bottom. Not only did it give me a lot more articulation, but it also gave me a thick sort of crunchy sound. Lots of body, lots of power. And so these 15-inch Exist Dry Dark Brilliants were not different at all. They came with a very thick bottom and quite a thin top. But actually, to be honest, a very thin top. See? Now, regardless of that, these still sound great with the thin hat on top. They're beautiful, they're lush, they do have a dry sound, but because of that brilliant finish, they cut through a little bit more. And I can still generate a little bit of articulation with the hi-hat work, but it still wasn't quite what I was looking for. So I did what I always do, and I flipped the cymbals over and I put the thin hat on the bottom and the thicker bottom hat on the top. And it actually worked great. I had a lot of articulation, I could get all my licks out, but there was still a problem. Because these are so thin, sometimes when I was pulsing the hi-hats with my left foot, I'd actually invert this cymbal. So if I'm playing with my band Black Comet and I'm pulsing away on the hi-hats and suddenly the bottom hi-hat inverts, which has happened live, I basically have to wait for a brief moment where I can put it back into shape and then continue with the gig. Not ideal. But I contacted my friends at Agop and I asked them, could they do me a special favor? Could they please send me one more Exist Dry Dark Brilliant hi-hat bottom? So that would mean that I have 2 bottoms. So they obliged, and now I have 2 very thick Exist Dry Dark Brilliant bottom hats to make up my hi-hats. See what I mean? Nice and thick. So now that I've shown you what my current favourite hi-hats are, let's have a listen to them. And there you have it. How good do they sound? I'll say too, in terms of the audio, I'm currently going through a little bit of a Steve Albini phase, so I'm not using hi-hat mics. So all of the audio for the hi-hats just then came from my matched pair of SE 4400As. Stunning microphones. So yeah, just a brief video today to show you what my favorite hi-hats are. And if you're interested in anything else that I'm doing, you can check out masterminddrummer.com. And because this video was essentially about hi-hat work, and for really good hi-hat work you need world-class double stroke, head over to masterminddrummer.com, and if you click on my course, The Key to Double Stroke Mastery, enter the code doublestroke at checkout, and you'll get 50% off the course. We'll leave it there for today. I'll see you at the next one.